Hey, how's it going, everybody? Shaggy from the Order of Mithril here again, and today I'm going to be doing a random review of Scape. Admittedly, I knew nothing about this game until right before it launched. It kind of came out of left field on me. But I'm going to go ahead and say that it's been a pleasant surprise so far. I am a fan of Battle Royale style games, and pretty much I like playing any game because I'm a gamer. I want to experience it all. I want to see what people are doing with games and different types of games. So, surprisingly, this actually has a bit of a narrative to it, even though it's a Battle Royale. Now, I know there are games out there like Apex that have a narrative, they have a story going on now, but this one, I think, is going to be a little bit more in-depth than those, so that's why I'm mentioning it here. So, apparently, the world has just gone to shit. I guess it's pollution, overpopulation, lack of resources, but everybody has taken to this virtual world. And inside this virtual world, you can do several different things. This happens to be a game called Crown Royale that everybody just seems to love. It's kind of like watching Monday Night Football in the future to these people. So you're playing a game within a game, which I find interesting. And now there's apparently something going on where people have started being able to hack this game. And there's some sort of ulterior motives for some of these people, so it leads me to believe that there's something sinister going on behind the scenes. But again, I just recently started playing it and I haven't found all of the narrative yet, so you have to find these little hidden pieces to explore the narrative further. With that being said, we're actually going to move on to the graphics of this game, the way everything looks. So, because it's a game within a game, you can kind of forgive the fact that it's not hyper-realistic. It doesn't look like something that somebody tried to put together to make it look like, say, Call of Duty Warzone or PUBG. It's not meant to look realistic. It's meant to be a video game aesthetic all the way through it. But even on top of just it being a video game, it has very cyberpunk vibes to the whole game. Like I've already said, the world is in a bit of a dystopian state outside of this game, and the way that it looks, it's very futuristic. As you can tell whenever the world starts to pixelate on the buildings here, that's kind of got a different vibe to it than what you would have seen in other Battle Royales. Overall though, I do really appreciate the look of this game, every little bit of it. It's got some bright colors to it, but they're not overly bright, they're not just completely saturated. I like the lighting effects that you get from enemy players and other things in the environment, like the respawn portals, the jump pads. Even like the flashes from the guns look really good, and even though they're not realistic guns, even like the one I'm using right here, whenever it fires, it's a ball of energy. I really enjoy the way that it looks all the way throughout. Getting into the audio now, I'm gonna have to say it's a bit of a mixed bag, and I'm starting to think that this is just one of the drawbacks to Battle Royale titles. The footsteps, when you do hear them, come in pretty clear. It's easy to tell where the opponent is most of the time. Sometimes you're not going to be able to hear them coming up on you because of the chaos. Sometimes it's going to be a little tricky for you to understand where the opponent is. Like, there are buildings that have metal floors and ceilings, and for some reason the footsteps tend to echo a lot, and it's hard to pinpoint if they're above you or below you. But sometimes you get a pretty good idea of where they're at. If they're walking on like the concrete or a concrete floor, you're going to be able to tell where they're at pretty easily. I like the way that the guns sound though. I like the way that the characters that you're playing as have a unique sound to them, but that is also a minor drawback. If you play a game like Apex or Call of Duty, you're going to know that the characters are going to do callouts from the game. Like there's an enemy over there being shot at, things like that. But these characters, at least the one I've been playing so far, an Irishman, it seems like he never shuts up. So I find that to be a bit of an issue, and I hope that they dial that back sometime in the near future. Because within a minute's time, he could say, "Oh, a fight without me?" In a minute's time, he could say that up to 4 or 5 times. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating just a hair, but it seems like he doesn't stop talking. And I mean, yes, he says other things, but at some point in time, you just want them to be quiet. It's one thing to give a tactical call out from your character. That's fine, but it kind of feels like they went overboard with that. Even beyond just that, though, the way the guns sound, the way that each of the hacks sound whenever you use them, one of the hacks is a ball form where you literally develop a bouncy ball shell around you. It sounds good. It sounds like you're stuck in a giant bubble and you're bouncing off of hard surfaces. Overall, I did like the audio. I just really wish that they would figure out what to do with the footstep audio and maybe make the character speak just a little bit less. Any gamer that frequents battle royales knows the formula that most of them adhere to. So it's not going to be like playing a deathmatch, say like in Call of Duty multiplayer or in Halo. I mean, when you look at it, I'm going to go ahead and use Apex as my mold for comparison here. So in Apex, you're going to have to drop and find loot. That's going to be guns, attachments, health, shields, and you're only going to have like your first starting life unless your team can respawn you or pick you back up. Hyperscape is bringing a slightly different approach to those dynamics, which I find pretty interesting. So in Apex, you can be downed and be picked back up. Whenever it comes to respawning, they can grab your banner, take you to a respawn beacon, and bring you back in the game that way. Well, in Hyperscape, if you're killed, your teammate is going to have to kill an opposing player. When that player dies, you'll see a little triangle on the ground. And if you'll look here in the video, you'll see spots where it says ready to restore. That's where a player is standing waiting to be respawned, if you will, back into the match. So you actually have to earn that respawn. It's a little different than earning it in Apex. In Apex, you can get away with a respawn if you're sneaky enough. In Hyperscape, there's no way about being sneaky for the respawn. Now, when it comes down to guns and attachments, they kind of did away with all the attachments that you would have seen from like Warzone or Apex or PUBG. So what's going to happen is you'll see like a gun called the Ripper. It's the assault rifle. So instead of finding a new sight for it or a new mag for it, what's going to happen is you'll pick up your first Ripper. And then you'll pick up your second Ripper. So you're going to pick up the gun twice. When you pick it up the second time, it's going to give you a bigger magazine size. So each gun is going to operate differently whenever you pick it up multiple times. Like for instance, if you pick up the sniper rifle known as the Protocol, your first pickup is going to give you more damage per shot. So it's in your interest to find guns again so that you can level up the one that you have. Now whenever enemies die, they'll drop whatever loot they have. Ammo, guns, or hacks. And you can level up your hacks as well, and I'll get to those in just a second. So you want to really pay attention to what type of guns that you're using as well, because like in Apex, you don't have, say, like a rocket launcher. You have, thrown grenades, but you don't have grenades in Hyperscape. So what they did was they actually put in a grenade launcher and this thing called the Skybreaker, which fires a pulse of energy out, which I found pretty interesting because now instead of having to worry about ammo for grenades, you actually just have to worry about what's in your guns. So I enjoyed that. It made it a little bit more simple instead of trying to find like what throwables do I want to manage with, like frag grenades or arc stars or thermals. Now when it comes to the hacks, this is where they're changing the mold from Apex as well. And again, I'm using this as my comparison because I think it's a pretty good jumping off point. So in Apex, you have legends. And each of those legends has a passive ability, and they have a tactical ability, and then an ult. Well, in Hyperscape, you pick up these hacks. And there's things like going invisible, being able to teleport, turning into a giant ball that'll let you bounce around, temporarily turning invulnerable, or revealing the area in front of you, things like that. So it's not where you're just kind of set into a certain role like whenever you play Apex. You can basically define how you want to play by which hacks you have access to and what you want to pick up from amongst that. And like the guns, the hacks are also upgradable. So whenever you get your first invisibility, you'll be able to turn invisible. When you pick it up a second time, the cooldown on it will be reduced. Now teleport, the same thing. If you're using teleport, you'll be able to jump a short distance, and it works in conjunction with the jumping system. So when you jump, you can jump twice. Everybody can out the gate. But if you jump twice, then teleport, you can jump a third time. So there's a little interesting thing that you can do by combining different hacks in that regard. Now, whenever you upgrade your teleport, you'll be able to get a cooldown and you'll be able to go a little bit further. And again, I'm going to double back here for just a second. you can combine hacks in a certain way other than just upgrading them. So if I say wanted to teleport and then do a slam, I could, which is also another hack. So I think that they're bringing some interesting aspects to the Battle Royale genre, and I, so far, thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, just to give a heads up, this isn't the basic squad mode that I'm playing in the gameplay. This is actually Faction War. It's a different mode, but it still plays by the same rules as the other game modes. Another thing that really got me about the gameplay for Hyperscape was that I was approaching it like I was playing Warzone, or like I was playing Apex, or PUBG, and I was having difficulty getting into the game, getting into a flow. And then I started noticing the way the movement was, and I started noticing the way the guns were. And when I quit playing it like Apex and started playing it like Quake, I started enjoying it a lot more and started being a little bit more successful in what I was doing in the matches. With all these things considered, I'm going to go ahead and say that this game is a must-play right now. I think it brings something unique to the Battle Royale genre that none of the others are really doing right now. And it's free to play like most other Battle Royales are right now. So I think you guys should jump in and take a look at it and at least see what you think about it. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video for this one today, but I would really like it if you guys jump down in the comment section and let me know what you think of Hyperscape and what you would like to see me review on this channel in the future. But I really appreciate you guys stopping by the channel today, and I hope you have a good one.